Hi, friends. Welcome back. We are on April 16th, 2020. It is Thursday, and we are looking at comparing information from two different texts. If you look at the top of the page, you are in section H1 for IXL, and the code is UYD. So if you're not sure you're in the right place, be sure you have IXL H1 under Reading Strategies open for literacy, and let's take a look. First, I want to ground us in what we are always grounding ourselves in, which is this chart, recognizing that everything that people write, whether for pleasure or for business, has a purpose. And that purpose can be divided into three simple letters. An acronym that we say is PIE, P-I-E. The P stands for persuasive, the I stands for informative, and the E stands for entertaining. Remembering that if they are persuading us, the author is trying to convince you of something. If they are informing us, the author is simply informing you about a topic or an event. There's also multiple different types of informative texts: compare and contrast, sequential, description, problem solution, or cause and effect. And the last option for writing purpose is to entertain, to make the author happy, or reader happy, and to make you feel some sort of emotion. Now, if you notice on the right side, we are looking at a text as an example from our section H1, and that text says, read a text about cursive. Now, we already kind of know that cursive will be the topic of our text. We're not really sure the author's purpose yet until we don't really know the author's purpose yet until we look further into the text, but we can probably identify the topic is about cursive. So on my note-taking section, where I'm taking notes while I read, which we should always be doing, the second note that I've taken is that the text topic is about cursive. We're still not sure yet the author's purpose or some important details. We'll see if we can find those while we read. A popular internet cartoon shows a beautifully scripted message on notebook paper. Someday, we old folks will use cursive writing as secret code. The joke carries a grain of truth. A significant number of young people are unable to write or read cursive. Once a major focus in education, cursive has disappeared from many classrooms. The reasoning is that cursive isn't necessary in the computer age, since text is displayed in print. But the trend concerns historians and other experts who point out that it may render people unable to read handwritten records from the past, such as contracts and personal letters. By eliminating cursive instruction, we are essentially slamming a door on history. Now I'm going to pause. I'm going to look into here and see what my author's purpose is. I don't see any type of claim or any type of reasons and evidence where our author is trying to get us to agree with them. I mainly see that the author is informing us. This isn't entertaining. It doesn't make me laugh or smile. Our author is simply telling us something informative by trying to get us to understand that we need cursive, and right now we don't have it in our curricula. So the informative is probably more so the best lens that we can look through this. So now that I know my author's purpose is to inform and to inform us about cursive, I need to look for a few important details. One major detail I see is where it lists that a significant number of young people are unable to write or read in cursive. I'm going to jot that down here. Then it says that it was once a major focus in education, but it disappeared. And the reason is that cursive isn't necessarily the computer age, since text is displayed in print. So then our author gives us a reason why cursive is not existent in the classrooms anymore. Many think that cursive is unnecessary due to technology. Then it says, but the trend concerns historians and other experts who point out that when you are essentially doing that, you're slamming a door on history. So the last final point I see here that's important is that this concerns historians because if the next generation cannot read cursive, they will not be able to read historical documents. I'm looking down here and my text now is asking me to select two details that are included. Well, I've got my important facts, but let's see if I can pick out from here what I see is in this portion. Removing cursive from the curriculum frees teachers to address other areas. I don't see anything here. This is all about cursive and why we're missing it and how it's still important that we have it. The second fact, new standards in the early 2000s determined cursive is unnecessary for college or work. No, many think cursive is unnecessary due to technology, but not because they determined it's unnecessary for work. Reading some historical documents requires cursive literacy. Yes, that is absolutely in this particular text, so we're going to check that box. Number 4, many school instructional plans no longer include cursive. Yes, that's absolutely included in this text. It says that cursive has disappeared from many classrooms. So we're going to check that box. Let's submit it. So we got that part right. Now it's giving us a second text also about cursive. So we need to create another note-taking guide just like this one to take notes over text number 2. You'll notice that I've added another section right underneath my important details from text 1. And I've labeled this section a few important details I read from text 2. This is showing that I'm comparing the two texts. They are both about the same topic, so I don't need to label that there's another topic. The topic is the same. I'm just comparing different details from the texts. In the early 2000s, research revealed that high school graduates lacked certain skills essential for college and work. The Common Core state standards were developed to address this issue. The standards are a set of recommendations regarding what students should learn at each grade level. These recommendations specify the skills that should be mastered and therefore suggest which skills are not necessary. Cursive falls into the second group. Of course, states that have adopted the Common Core are allowed to teach cursive if they wish, but with the exclusion of cursive from the standards, several states have stopped teaching it. This has enabled teachers to shift valuable instructional time to more relevant areas, such as computer skills. Now, I noticed that I didn't jot down any important details first. I needed to read my text first and then decide which details were important as I read through a second time. As I read back through this informative text again, I'm keeping in mind my author's purpose. My author's purpose is to inform me about cursive. So I need to look for the details that the author deems most important about this topic. How do you know if it's most important? Well, you typically look for emphasis words. For example, anything the author gives you that says that something is very important or something is essential or something is non-essential or doesn't matter at all. When they take the time to emphasize certain facts in their writing, they want you to remember it. So as I scan through, I'm going to look for words that look like emphasis words. In the early 2000s, research revealed that high school graduates lacked certain skills. This word lacked shows me that they think that these high school graduates, they weren't even close to ready. They clearly were missing something, and they were missing skills for college and work, which is the whole point of high school. So that's an important fact I think is worth noting. So I note that down as an important fact, that in the 2000s, research revealed high school graduates lacked or didn't have skills they needed for college and work. As I keep reading, I see that in this section, our author notes that they developed a set of standards, and that the standards are a set of recommendations regarding what students should learn at each grade level. These recommendations specify the skills that should be mastered, and therefore suggest which skills are not necessary. Cursive falls into the second group. So now that we see our topic has been brought up, cursive, we need to bring that into our details over here. So I note here that another important detail is that standards were made specifying which skills needed to be mastered before graduation and which were irrelevant. And cursive was found to be irrelevant. Then I look down here and I see that all these people who have eliminated cursive, it has enabled teachers to shift valuable instructional time. That use of the word valuable shows me that instructional time is definitely very emphasized as important by our author. And that by eliminating cursive, it allows people to teach other things they see as more important. So I note that here. Now I'm looking at my text details. I see that removing cursive from the curriculum frees teachers to address other areas was listed. We just discussed that. So I'm going to check here. New standards in the early 2000s determined cursive is unnecessary for college or work. Yep, we said it was found to be irrelevant in this text number 2. So I'm going to check that here. Reading some historical documents requires cursive literacy. Nope, that was addressed in text 1, but not in text 2, so I leave that unchecked. Many school instructional plans no longer include cursive. That was discussed in the text number 2. So I'm going to check that, submit, and I'm done. Now I'm looking down here where it says, who would likely agree that cursive literacy should be included in classroom instruction? Well, down here, I'm noting that a few important details from text 2, all of these include why we should not have cursive. But all of the details in text 1 is talking about why we should have cursive. So I definitely see that author of text 1 would be the one most likely to say that literacy or cursive literacy should be included. And that's right. Good luck today.